Welcome to the Fleet Geeks podcast. We're here to help develop fleet and transport professionals. Do you want to progress and develop your skills and knowledge? We promise to bring lively conversation and debate around interesting issues and keep you bang up to date with changes in our awesome industry. The Fleet Geeks are a community of professionals, and if you enjoy the podcast, why not join the discussion for free in the Fleet Geek community over on Facebook. Hello and welcome to today's Fleet Geeks podcast. I'm joined today by Geraint from FORS. I'm absolutely delighted that he's joining me today, and I'm really interested to hear more about what he does and his role at FORS, and also what the future of FORS looks like. Geraint, it's an absolute pleasure to have you join us today on the podcast. Are you able to just introduce yourself and your role for the benefit of the listeners?
Absolutely, Pete. And likewise, thank you ever so much for having me on the podcast. And it's a privilege and a pleasure to be able to contribute this afternoon. So in terms of my role, I've been FORS Director for the last 2 years. Previous to that, I was at John Raymond Transport for 22 years. Started off as Fleet Administrator, then Fleet Manager, then General Manager, and then ultimately COO. And throughout that journey, been in and around road transport, the heavy end, pretty much 44-ton Arctics, 3-axle tracked unit, 3-axle trailer, circa 120 trucks, 220 trailers, primarily running UK distribution for blue chip clients, warehousing, things like that. And on that journey, I got involved with the FTA. I chaired the Welsh Freight Council, and then latterly the UK Road Freight Council in Westminster, and then joined the RHA and found myself as chair of the Welsh Forum, the Welsh Freight Forum, and then on board on the board of directors with the RHA. And previous to that, I ultimately couldn't decide, as most youngsters when they come out of school, what shall I do? I did A-levels in design technology, PE and Welsh, so I don't know what I was hoping to achieve with that. And then I went and did Welsh at university and went and taught Welsh for a year. And I couldn't stay away really from trucks or transport. And the long summer holidays back then, you wouldn't get paid for. So I'd be packing crisps in Walker's Crisps for £3.60 an hour, 48 Monster Munch to a box. And then after that, a friend of mine came and said, are you interested in working for this transport company? And I didn't go back teaching that September. I stayed at the transport company, mad money, £4.50 an hour. Then that went up to £4.75 an hour, driving a little Mercedes 7.5 tonner, and learned very, very quickly about road transport, put myself through my CPCs, put myself through my Class 2, then my Class 1, did my PSV, or Cat D then, and I went and joined John Raymond Transport thereafter, after that. So, yeah. So that's a very quick counter through where I've come from and how I've ended up here.
Yeah. What a story. So, I'm getting a bit of an echo. I don't know if it's me or not. Okay. Wow. So 48 bags of Monster Munch in a box. Who knew?
Yeah.
Did you ever get tempted just to have a little bit of pickled onion yourself?
You would, but they used to give you terrible mouth ulcers. So you weren't discouraged from eating it, but you'd have enough of crisps and the smell in the end.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. Excellent. So fast forward to now 2 years of being FORS director then, Geraint, and that is, obviously that's a big role. You've worked your way up through the industry. You obviously,
absolutely.
Time served. So did you come in to FORS at the same time of the transfer from AECOM to Sopra Steria? Is that?
No, I didn't. I came in probably about 18 months after that had happened. I started in July 2023, having steered John Raymond Transport through the dark days of COVID. It's a very different role. I was privileged and fortunate enough to go to work every day in COVID. Had a special letter from the minister saying I was allowed out. Toilet roll was the main commodity back then. Who'd have thought toilet roll would have been the the high value load. I wasn't the king of rock and roll. I was the king of toilet roll. So yeah. So to come into this role, it's a very different role, but I think everything aligned at the right moment in time in terms of my skill set, my experience, and having served, as I said, with FTA, now Logistics UK, on the freight councils, and the experience with the RHA as well, having that little bit of experience in the passenger sector as well, Transport Manager CPC in the passenger sector, as well as the CAT-D, plus the other vocational licenses, it gave me a really good firm grounding. And I find myself doing a lot of storytelling and relating to operators and seeing things unashamedly through an operator's lens. And that's really stood me in good stead.
Sure. Okay. Amazing. And what's your, as FORS director, what are your sort of core objectives as from a role perspective?
The core objectives would be to grow FORS and to diversify FORS into different sectors, and to make a difference into sectors like utilities. I'm passionate about buses and coaches, making a difference with school transport, raising standards. A core pillar of FORS is road safety. And as you can imagine, over the years, running the number of vehicles that I ran in that operation, things do go wrong. And I was a FORS operator, one of the very first FORS operators in Wales, one of the very first gold operators in Wales. I was on the very first cohort that did the FORS practitioner course. I got certificate number 5. Geraint Davies, the FORS technical advisor, he's got certificate number 1. So there's a long history there with me and FORS as an operator. So it's quite funny to come across to the other side. But to grow FORS into different sectors and to make that difference, really, because road safety and work-related road risk, as I said, are the key pillars. And when I've had things go wrong, I remember I had a particular fatality in 2017. And for me, it was a thank God I've got rather than a nice to have. And it was everything that underpinned the FORS standard then that I had in my arsenal. And not only that, you do a lot of soul searching. What could Geraint have done to prevent that particular death? And other than holding the driver's hand, nothing. The driver left the handbrake off and got run over by his own vehicle ultimately. But at a human level, you do a lot of soul searching. And I was interviewed under PACE. HSE had primacy over that particular investigation. Vehicles impounded, DVSA go through everything in granular detail. And it's not a nice place to be, but you can stand by the courage of your convictions when you've got everything in place. And that backstop for me was the FORS standard, because it went over and above the basic all license undertakings that are required. So that's where I'm coming from with it. And there is a real benefit there. And I've seen it as an operator, because I was in the quite strange sort of position as an operator and CO from 2013, 2014, from when safe driving or safe urban driving, as it used to be called, was a thing. I used to deliver that to my drivers, and that gave me that conduit to the front line as to what's going on. We used to have a buffet. We used to get the drivers in and sort of lead from the front sort of thing. And I used to get to know what was going on in operationally then. But by delivering that course, I could deliver that course of conviction because I was buying the insurances for the business as well. As you can imagine, a 6-figure sum. And I saw a demonstrable reduction in our claims. Whilst we didn't have a reduction by virtue of the fact we're FORS operators, the reduction came from an improved claims experience, correlating improved loss ratio, which translated into lower premiums and better bottom line ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been a big advocate for the safe urban driving. I think as a consultancy company, we are not approved to deliver the training, but we support people with their FORS approval where they need it, and we obviously refer into the other safe urban driving places. Now, interestingly, they there's sometimes resistance from drivers about getting out on a bike, which I think is a shame, because I think that when it comes to I do a lot of leadership development, and we talk about empathy, right? And you want to have empathy with somebody. Being put in their shoes, literally being put in their shoes, really helps open your eyes. what are your thoughts? Obviously, that's been evolved now into, and there's benefits of moving into a virtual reality process from from a ease and cost and from a time consumption, and also just utilizing the technology available, and from a safety perspective as well. I can understand why some fleet managers would prefer that, because you're not putting your drivers at risk from that perspective. What are your thoughts around virtual reality? Obviously, it has its benefits, but it must also, sadly, not. It doesn't quite give that same empathy, I would think, from a course perspective.
The virtual reality course has its place, and for all the reasons you just discussed, it's not there to negate the need of the on cycle. I think it's still a place for the on cycle, but there are tremendous benefits to the virtual one. FORS have just developed a virtual reality a version, almost like a version 2 or an updated version of what's been out there previously. A lot of work went into it with the driver, and it's transport people. It's a transport VR module that's been developed for the industry. It's vehicle agnostic. It can apply to any vehicle.
Yeah.
And from my point of view, I remember I used to deliver the classroom element, but I had to get cycle trainers to deliver the cycle training element. And inclement weather, it's a lovely sunny day here in South Wales today. But if you've got your typical sort of Welsh rainy weather, it's not ideal. And the safety issues, which people are becoming more tuned into with this litigious society in which we live. You put me on a pedal bike, I fell off or had some sort of medical episode, and it's your fault. I managed it with my drivers. I used to make an area in the yard. I used to make a sterile area. I used to cordon an area off. I didn't cone it off. I put trailers around an area so to make a sort of almost like a school playground sort of sized area in the yard, whereby they could cycle around in circles, get used to the bikes, and then go out. We had a new purchase order system, and the very first thing I bought wasn't tires, wasn't a load of diesel. It was 12 push bikes. So but things have moved on. The sort of second generation of VR training is very, very good. But as I said, it's not there to negate the on-cycle element, and there's still value in doing that. And some people do like it, and some people do enjoy it.
Yeah. There'll definitely be people out there. And I think, there's the other benefit that I've not mentioned of the cycle stuff is actually the potential encouragement of drivers to do something more active, which is great for their well-being as well. And there's nothing like getting on a bike to rediscover our childhood, where many of us would have spent time out on bikes and messing up.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, they're a lot of fun. They can be a lot of fun, obviously, when used appropriately.
Yeah, and that was good because it did promote active travel. As I said, we were a FORS Gold operator. There's a cycle to work scheme, and getting drivers to engage in more active travel is a good thing for the general health and well-being.
So just moving back to sort of FORS from a strategic perspective. So FORS at the moment is obviously one of the core industry standards for operators who want to demonstrate their compliance and high levels of standard. Tell me a bit more about the new version, because we've got the new version coming this year. How's that rollout going?
The rollout of version 7 has gone well. As with any version change, there were some niggles here and there, because not only was it a version change, running in tandem with that was a change in the audit platform. The FORS audit was run off a spreadsheet ultimately, which had macros on the macros on the macros, which became very, very complicated. And really, the iAuditor platform was brought in to eliminate some human factors as well. We've got a very good team of auditors. They're all very professional, all trained, all Transport Manager CPC qualified. And the QA team as well, the FORS QA team, we QA audits that they do. The FORS QA team, they've all got Transport Manager CPCs as well, which is how I like it. And they are from an operational background. Some are ex-drivers as well that have also done CPCs and gone into management. So there's a good firm foundation there.
Hi, Hi, I'm Shani from Flagship Partners. We're proud to sponsor the Fleet Geeks podcast, your go-to source for all things fleet management. If you're looking for expert advice or high-quality training for your fleet business, make Flagship Partners your first choice. We're also thrilled to announce the launch of our Fleet Academy, designed to support and develop future fleet leaders through expert-led and career-focused training. Our offering includes fully accredited courses such as the Transport Manager CPC training, CPC refresher courses, OLAT training, plus ongoing mentoring, support and professional development beyond the qualification. Our vision is simple: to develop elite fleet professionals who drive excellence across the industry. Let's shape the future of our fleet management together.
No different really from running a transport company, because I wanted traffic operators to have a transport manager CPC, or at the very least have an OLAT and be working towards a transport manager CPC, because my name was on the operator's license. So I had a vested interest in it to be done correctly. And the same thing applies here with FORS. That demonstrable substance and depth is being seen by the traffic commissioners, it's being seen by the DVSA. I chair the Wales Road Transport Advisory Group, and that's a FORS-sponsored event. We had the Welsh Traffic Commissioner, DVSA, Gwent Police Commercial Vehicle Unit, and the trade associations were all there as well. So brand FORS is definitely on the up, and is being seen in all the right places. And iAuditor and version 7 has seen an improved auditability of FORS, and takes out that human factor, as I said, and brings about a level of consistency in terms of what's being audited, and brings about a better audit experience for the operator.
Yeah, of course. I think, my observation from a consultative perspective is that I've observed in the past there's potentially been some challenges around different standards of audit and the expectation of evidence provided. So I think that this sounds like a fantastic move forward. And it sounds like, or what my experience is that now there's a much more robust need for evidencing of the systems.
Yes.
Which wasn't there before. So I think that's a really positive step forward for the standard, for sure.
And it's in tune with the Guide to Maintaining Roadworthiness as well, and the guidance from the OTC. So that's hence why it's gone up a gear in that respect. And another thing with version 7 as well, whilst road safety, work-related road risk management is always going to be that core pillar of FORS, increasingly sustainability and decarbonisation is. And is to help operators and not be a hindrance, and not be, we've got to do this. This is another thing that's been foisted upon us by FORS. It's to help operators, because coming down the road, in the same way as organisations report financial information via Companies House, there'll be the expectation to report environmental information through Scope 3 reporting and things like that. And this is to help operators very much along that journey. I've been asked for these things myself, and I was lucky because I was a FORS Gold operator as well. I've been asked previously for well-to-wheel carbon output, and can we have it by tomorrow, please, because we've got an audit. And it seems to be every other week you were having an audit. But I found myself coming back to my FORS work, which really helped me in that respect.
Yeah, sure. Have you found with the new version and the increased evidence needed for audit? I'm not aware of what your answer is going to be for this, by the way. But have you found there's been more of a challenge for operators to meet that standard? Has it been more challenging, certainly this early part of the year, to sort of send that message? Because the experience historically will have been that it was, that the audit was quite different, I suppose.
Yeah. As with any version change, I remember the change from version 4 to version 5 as an operator, and for me that was horrendous. 5 to 6 wasn't so bad, and 6 to 7 from a bronze perspective isn't so bad. It's largely the same. The big changes come in silver and gold with the environmental elements and the sustainability and crucially the reporting. But there are tools there that can help. The FORS emissions calculator, whereby people put in the vehicle type at the top and then it churns out a number at the bottom. That's been well received. I was speaking with operators at an event yesterday, in fact, and they see that as a tremendous benefit, particularly if they're operating a mixed fleet. I sometimes see things through a blinkered view of 44-ton Arctics all running on diesel or HVO in the end. And so I've got two fuel types, one vehicle architecture, and that's simple for me. Whereas you've got people running electric vans in London, electric pickups in London, but then they might have 26-tonners, they might have 38-tonners, 32-ton tippers, and then Arctics as well. So a very mixed and diverse fleet. Some may be on CNG, LNG, biomethane. People are experimenting with hydrogen and BEVs as well. So it's how that well-to-wheel carbon emissions are calculated with these different types of vehicle architectures. So it does help, and again, to be a help and not a hindrance to operators. And as I've said previously, FORS, I use that in many instances. You're only one encounter away from a public inquiry with for vehicles in scope of operators' licenses. You're only one event. Human factors largely the main, or driver issues, drivers not doing their daily checks, for example, tyre cut to the cord. That could be an S-mark prohibition. S-mark prohibition, you're going to have an MIVR, something's found on that maintenance investigation report. And then when I've been in that situation in the past, I'll just present my FORS bronze file because everything that they're going to ask is in there.
Yeah,
and then I can again sit there with confidence.
Yeah, it makes total sense. With regards to your last couple of years in the role, what's been your sort of biggest challenges? What's been like your focus areas that you've been most challenged by?
Brand building, winning hearts and minds, making people understand the benefit of FORS, and taking the FORS team on that journey. Everybody is suspicious of a change in leadership, but drawing from my operational experience, dealing with a broad church of people, from drivers to people working in the warehouse, traffic office staff, that's really stood me in good stead. But brand building has definitely been the biggest challenge, and to see where it's come from where it was has been really heartening.
Yeah, amazing. And what's like 2-year plan? Like what's the future? What's your goals for the next sort of couple of years? What are you hoping to achieve?
Goals for the next couple of years to grow into different sectors: buses, coaches, utilities, sectors that you would think that should and would have FORS that haven't, petrochemical, vehicles in scope of ADR, things like that, and growing with local authorities as well. So that's, and growing with different territories, because FORS has recently launched into the Republic of Ireland, into Dublin, and Dublin, the National Transport Authority in Ireland, they see FORS as the panacea of trying to reduce road deaths to get to their Vision Zero, in the same way that FORS has helped in the UK. Previously being a London-centric scheme, has grown beyond that now. Only 17% of operators are within London, 1% in other territories, and 82% of the rest of the UK. So that shows how FORS has grown from being what was perceived a London scheme to being UK-wide, and now it's going international. And Ireland, they've seen the progress that's been made in the UK, and they've had their own challenges in Dublin in terms of fatalities and things like that, and that's why they want to implement the standard there. So it's growing in different territories, not just Ireland, into Europe as well.
Love that. Going global, Geraint.
Absolutely.
FORS Global, love it. Okay, cool. So obviously there's the nice vision for where things are going, and obviously expanding and diversifying the standard, which is great. What would you say, so for listeners who are listening in, so largely transport and fleet managers listening in, if they're already on FORS, potentially some of them, but if they're not, and it's something they're interested in doing, what would your message be to them if they were sort of having to make a decision between FORS and maybe one of the other standards that they were looking at?
For me, from obviously I'm going to be biased now because of the hat I wear. But for me, I looked at other things in the past as an operator, and I stayed with FORS. FORS was the original scheme, and I looked at different ones. I just found it more overarching and covered off more things, particularly in terms of health and safety and other things that operators should be doing, and perhaps weren't. So for me, yeah, it's still the scheme of choice.
Sure.
And for operators who want to come on board, have a look at the website, look at some of the testimonials, give the helpline a call. The helpline is on the website there, the telephone number, give the telephone number a call, just reach out, and then we can help start that journey.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, cool. And with regards your role as well, so if people wanted to find out more from you, for example, you're out and about a lot of the time speaking.
Absolutely.
You were talking about that before we came on camera. So, how do people sort of follow the amazing work you're doing?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Ping me a message. By all means, my door's always open. We can have a chat.
Cool. And you're planning FORS conference again this year?
Absolutely, yeah.
You get involved with that? Is that part of your remit?
Yeah. So I'll be opening and closing it the same as I have the last 2 years. So that's going to be on the 23rd of October in the ICC in Birmingham. We've decided to keep it there because the venue seems to work. A central location in the country, fabulous auditorium, fabulous exhibition area. We had 444 delegates there last year, and this year we're only in June and we've got over 250 people signed up already.
I better go and book my ticket.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be good to come. To be frank, I've not actually managed to make one yet. I always ended up just not being available. So people always go, "Oh, are you going?" And then I get to near it, and I'm like, "Oh, I wish I was going," because it looks like a really great event. To be fair,
yeah, it is, and we've got a really good. It's got better year on year. It had a bit of a gap, obviously, with COVID, then the change in concession. But the formula of having it at the ICC, having some good speakers. We've got the Senior Traffic Commissioner there this year. So he's on after me, Kevin Rooney. And we got Mark Cartwright from Driving for Better Business, National Highways, and some other big names there as well. So it should be a good gig. And new for this year as well are the Driver Awards. So that's or FORS Awards, I should say. So watch this space.
Oh, that's cool. Are you able to tell us more about that? Sounds really interesting, the FORS Awards.
Yeah. Well, there are other award things. I've been to the Motor Transport Awards and things like that along life's way. And it's something just to give something back and give some recognition to people that deserve it.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, I really love that concept. That sounds really good. It's been an absolute pleasure, Geraint. Is there a question I've not asked that I should have asked? Is always the question I end with, because I never know if I've maybe missed. Is there something important that I've maybe missed asking you?
No, I think we've covered it all, Pete.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. And if you're interested, I'm sure it'd be fantastic for you to come back in the future as new versions come out.
Yeah, definitely.
Any changes, maybe later in the year, if there's any changes due, just give me a shout. I think the listeners would be really interested to hear how things are evolving and that sort of thing. And I just want to congratulate you on a fantastic job. I really think FORS is clearly making real inroads into improvement, and I think that's fantastic. And it's such a good thing to do. We've got such challenging statistics from a road safety perspective. The purpose of we're all working together to try and find a way to enable operators to operate more safely and more aware and improve driving standards and improve road safety, not just for the fleets themselves, but obviously for all of our families that use the roads as well. So. Definitely.
Yeah, we're all on the same bus in that respect. We are definitely aligned.
Yeah, absolutely. Geraint, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for joining us. If you've got any questions for Geraint, do drop them in the comments or connect with him on LinkedIn, like he said. Go and add him on LinkedIn, and he said he's available to field questions and support. So make sure you take advantage of that. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please share with your friends and colleagues too. Join us for free on Facebook with the Fleet Geeks community for transport and fleet managers. Fleet Geeks offers ongoing professional development, networking and mentoring too. So get in touch with me, Pete Rushmer, on any social media platform to find out more.